Good morning, and thank you for joining me this morning. As we look ahead towards Veterans Day, I'd like to take a moment to note that we were advised this morning that a hero of the Vietnam War and served our state in the U.S. Senate passed away earlier today. Senator Max Cleland was 79 years old, and we extend our heartfelt sympathies to his family and friends. Had the opportunity to meet Senator Cleland on numerous occasions, and I will tell you that he was a hero in every sense of the word. So we extend our city's condolences to his passing. We also held our first major event in a long time this past weekend. The 2021 Rock and Roll Marathon was held in 40-degree storm-like weather with 6,091 brave souls of the 16,000 registered runners beginning the race, which was modified by the race organizers to a half marathon only format because of the weather. And although it was admittedly a very cold, wet, and windy day, and although several layers of my clothing were soaked, I was nonetheless impressed by the collaboration, the ingenuity, and the dedication of Team Savannah, and of course, our partners. So special thanks to City Manager Jay Melder, all the members of Team Savannah, especially Chief Mentor and the Savannah Police Department, Chief Menard and Savannah Fire, Traffic Engineering, Sanitation, who always does an amazing job, and special events, who all worked outside this weekend in the cold rain to make sure that we had a safe and successful event. And we showed the hospitality that Savannah is well known for. I also want to give a shout out to our emergency medical technicians of Savannah Fire, who literally saved the life of a runner on Saturday, administering CPR to an athlete on the course. And I'm relieved to report that thanks to the quick and skilled response of our EMTs at Savannah Fire, an athlete is in stable condition and is expected to make a full recovery. I remind our residents that this is a direct result of the city having made the decision and the investment to develop and train EMTs in our fire department 2 years ago. And certainly, if one life is saved, that investment has paid off major dividends. As I've indicated before, now that we have completed our contract with the Rock and Roll Marathon, we should not only conduct an economic analysis of the Rock and Roll Marathon, but we also need to ensure that it continues to meet the needs of our citizens, our neighborhoods, our businesses, and our greater community. And so more to come on that in the coming days. Last night, we also had our second major event in Savannah is the rock band Foreigner, Pure Legends, rocked the Savannah Civic Center under various COVID protocols. So far, so good. Foreigner is safe, we're safe. So we'll continue to deliberate, be steady, and continue to follow the science. I'm also happy to report that for the first time since early in the pandemic, the city of Savannah currently has 0 employees out of work due to illness from COVID. And so we continually thank all of the members of Team Savannah for doing what we need to do to keep ourselves, our families, and our colleagues safe, wearing masks where needed, and making the decision to be vaccinated. We know by next week our vaccination incentive will be over, and so we'll have a full report on how many of our team members will be vaccinated. From there, city manager and team will start talking about what our next steps are as it relates to vaccination of our employees. As you know, the Broughton Streetscape project is transforming Savannah's historic retail corridor into one of the Savannah's great public spaces. But that transformation has not been easy. It's been hard, it's been difficult, but it's been necessary, and it's come with significant challenges. When do you do it? When's the best time? What's not the best time for one might be the best time for another. How do you do it? And the fact is, the costs that are involved with doing a project and completing it all the way through. There's significant costs in doing a project and stopping a project. And so this project has encountered unmarked historic infrastructure issues that have required relocation, supply chain disruptions, COVID-19 shutdowns, and of course, whenever you dig in Savannah, unplanned obstacles. So we recognize fully that the 84 businesses on Broughton Street have been tremendously impacted by those disruptions. And we also recognize that those 84 businesses on Broughton Street will be greatly improved by the improved infrastructure and the improved streetscape. But we also clearly understand that we now all find ourselves entering a second holiday season under construction. So as we recognize that Savannah needs a thriving Main Street where we want our visitors and our locals alike from all neighborhoods to gather, shop, dine, and shop, and celebrate and shop as one community, we recognize that we have to make some adjustments in order for that to happen. So, and as our businesses that are entering the end of the year, that they need a strong fourth quarter after nearly 2 years of COVID impacts. And so, as you know, the city of Savannah has been actively and aggressively engaging. We've been at the front of the curve to try to anticipate challenges before they happen, to try to create situations where we can that our businesses will be successful. So for those reasons, we have directed our contractor to modify their work schedule and temporarily move all construction activity off of Broughton Street for the entire month of December. So Broughton Street will be an open street for the holidays, and there'll be no orange barricades, there'll be no fencing, and there'll be no equipment. But understand very clearly, the beginning of January, we're back on again, right? Back on in earnest. We have to finish this project. We have to go ahead and get it done. In its place, we're working with our partners at the Downtown Business Association, the Greater Savannah Black Chamber of Commerce, and the Savannah Area Chamber to make this a shopping season to remember. So there will be lights, look for music, look for dancing, look for games, look for shopping specials, and more on Broughton Street in December. And as I always say, stay tuned for details, but it is going to be epic. I encourage all of our citizens to consider shopping local this season, buy local, and come down to Broughton Street and to celebrate and to experience one of the most vibrant downtowns in all of America. I've had the opportunity to travel as of late, and I'm visiting downtowns across the country, and I will tell you that they are suffering. And Savannah, in comparison, is thriving. So we anticipate minimal overall impact to phase one of the Broughton Street project due to this modification, but we believe that it's the right thing to do for our taxpayers, for our businesses, and for our residents. As of late, you've also heard us talk a lot, and we spent considerable time in Stillwell Towers on Waters Avenue. So I wanted to provide some updates regarding the facts as I understand them at this point. Horace Stillwell Towers is just south of Memorial Health on Waters Avenue. It's owned by the United States Housing and Urban Development Department and is managed by the Housing Authority of Savannah. It has about 20 floors, over 200 units, and about 200 or so residents. Admittedly, it is an old housing development. It's not owned by the city. But it is home for seniors, it is home for disabled residents that right now there are no other options for. And so because they're all in the same place, services are able to be coordinated in there for them. And so right now it is a suitable option for those that are living there. It has 2 passenger elevators, admittedly somewhat small, and a freight elevator. On Wednesday, October the 27th, there was a fire in an apartment on the 12th floor of Stillwell Towers. The resident was home at the time and was rescued by the awesome Savannah Fire Department. They were transported to the hospital and they were treated for smoke inhalation, and they will be fine. The resident remained in the hospital overnight for the observation and was discharged the next day. The resident was relocated to another apartment in the building. Stillwell is equipped with a sprinkler system, and so when the fire occurred, the system did exactly what it was supposed to do. It sprinkled. The fire was immediately extinguished, and the fire damage was confined to that singular apartment. Several apartments and one of the elevators received water damage. The housing authority staff immediately began removing water and simultaneously contracted the services of a water damage restoration service to begin the process of drying apartments and the elevator. There was elevator service available in the building. Now, 3 days later, October 30th, in another elevator, the doors did not open when it reached the ground floor, and there were 2 residents in the elevator. The fire department and the elevator contractor were notified. Savannah Fire again responded immediately, opened the doors, allowed the residents to exit the elevator, and placed the elevator out of service until the elevator contractor could respond. And so for several hours, there was no elevator service available in the building. A battalion chief from Savannah Fire was available to respond immediately if the need arose to assist residents in assessing their apartments. Housing authority staff also assisted residents in getting to and from their apartments. 5 residents were provided accommodations outside of the building. And so thanks to the assistance from the City of Savannah, from Chatham Area Transit, we assisted our housing authority partners to transport those residents that evening and provide housing for them. CAT also provided transportation to return their residents to Stillwell. The elevator contractor checked the elevator and placed it back in service the same day. The housing authority immediately notified their insurance provider, and they're working closely with them to bring the damaged apartment back to a habitable state. Saturday afternoon, Alderwoman Linda Wilder Bryan, City Manager Jay Melder, and I spent considerable time in Stillwell on Saturday afternoon with the residents and the housing authority staff. We are in communication with the United States Housing and Urban Development because obviously this is an old building. But until we're provided with something else, this is what we have. And so I want to thank the Housing Authority staff for being responsive. I want to thank City Manager, certainly the CAT and Savannah Fire. We're all in this together. And until we can identify something that's going to work for these residents, right now this is what they call home. And so we know it's an old building, and we recognize it's going to take money to be able to provide other options for them, and that money comes from the federal government. So we are on that, and we'll continue to assist where we can. And again, I can't say enough about Alderwoman Linda Wilder Bryan and the work she's done there. I mean, she's fed everybody in the building. She's partnered with Push Ministries and other good folks to provide more food for them. And, you know, that's what a community that his beloved does. We come to the aid of those who need help. So, more on that to come. So obviously I was elated on Friday evening that the United States House of Representatives passed a more than $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. And so we're waiting to hear about specific projects that will directly affect our community, but we do know it includes the following. Roughly $30.7 million for Savannah public transportation, at least $100 million to help provide broadband coverage across Georgia, over $16.5 billion for waterway, coastal, and port infrastructure in Georgia and across the country, $8.9 billion to fund repairs of Georgia's roads and highways, $225 million for bridge replacement and repairs in Georgia. We know that this infrastructure bill included Senator John Ossoff's Local Transit Planning Support Act, which will increase funding to plan transit infrastructure in Georgia's low-income and low-density areas. It also passed Senator Ossoff's back bill to allocate $500 million to upgrade public school infrastructure. And also, for a trifecta, it passed Senator Ossoff's provision to ensure that all of our children have clean, safe drinking water at school by removing lead pipes. We count this as a huge win, and I certainly thank Senators Ossoff and Warnock for their leadership, for their partnership, and for their constant communication with the City of Savannah and my office to ensure that Savannah's needs were considered and included in this historic legislation. And we'll know more in the coming days, and we'll put that out as it comes out. I also wanted to take the opportunity to congratulate former mayor and now Representative-elect Edna Branch Jackson on her election to the Georgia General Assembly as the House Representative for the 165th District. I understand that Representative-elect Jackson, who I spoke to this morning, is in Atlanta, and she will be sworn in within the next day, and we expect her to immediately begin to work in the special session that is currently convened for the purposes of redistricting. We know she knows Savannah, we know she loves Savannah, and so we are excited to have her working for Savannah in the Georgia House 165 seat, which was held by Representative Mickey Stevens. As you know, the CDC and the FDA have approved Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for children 5 years of age and older. The Coastal Health District is offering pediatric vaccines at 2 locations in Savannah by appointment only. Children 5 years of age and older can get the vaccine at the Chatham County Health Department at 1395 Eisenhower Drive, or the Chatham County COVID-19 Vaccination Annex at 1249 Eisenhower Drive. To make an appointment, visit gachd.org/vaccine, gachd.org/vaccine, or call 912-230-5506, 912-230-5506. A parent or guardian must be present for all children between the ages of 5 and 17 to get their vaccine. We remind you, if you have an outstanding water bill, please make arrangements to pay or set up a payment with our utility services staff, as they will be assessing fees and service disconnections. Anyone interested in setting up a payment plan or setting up a new payment arrangement should contact Utility Services at 912-651-6460, 912-651-6460, Monday through Friday from 8:15 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. We recognize that we have an issue. Admittedly, we have an issue with water bills. We own that, and so we're taking responsibility, and the city manager has an aggressive plan to get us through this, to resolve the issue. And so we've hired temporary staff to help process these requests, but we want our folks to be patient as we anticipate high call volumes and longer wait times. This afternoon, as I see Alderman Curtis Pertee in chambers, that means we'll be hosting our first in-person City Council workshop and meeting since March of 2020. The meeting and workshop will take place here in council chambers at City Hall. And this really marks a change for us. Alderman Pertee remembers in the beginning of March, we were doing conference call meetings, and that wasn't fun as we were trying to navigate Zoom. Now we are Zoom warriors. We can do Zoom. And I think it's important for us to be able to do Zoom, but ultimately, we're going to check with our archivist, because this might be the longest period in our city's history that City Council is. Okay, Amanda says yes, so that means it's correct. This is the longest period in our city's history that the City Council has not met in its chambers. And so we consider this a triumphant return, and that means for us that we are getting back to what our new normal will be. So members of the public will be able to view the meetings from alternate locations in this building for social distancing purposes. But anyone wanting to make a public comment during a public hearing will be able to do so within council chambers when that item is up for consideration. So right now, we're not fully back. Again, we'll be limiting seating in the chambers. Obviously, as you can tell, it's kind of compact in here, and you can see some of the modifications that's been done. I want Chief Mincher sitting here next to me. But individuals who prefer to watch the meetings remotely can still do so via the city's website, Facebook, and YouTube. So we'll still be virtual, but we'll be in person as well. Media representatives will be allotted space within council chambers to cover the meetings live and the work session. Only one crew per outlet will be allowed. All individuals entering City Hall must wear a mask for the duration of the visit, and obviously council will do so per their comfort level. In our workshop today at noon, we'll be discussing impact fees. Members of council have been talking for quite some time. Many of us, Alderman Pertee included, have been talking about the ways of being able to have other people help pay for the development that is happening in our city. So the city manager has a presentation for us. We'll also be discussing the future of the Savannah Civic Center and the Gamble Building next door. Obviously, I was here, so I remember the determinations that are on the table now were the determinations of the last council, and that was to demolish the entire Civic Center, inclusive of the Johnny Mercer Theater, and to sell the Gamble Building. That was the decisions of the last council, and I think I would like for this council to have the opportunity to weigh in on their watch about the future of these two important city-owned properties. So personally, and this is only me personally, I would love to see the city to retain the Johnny Mercer Theater, as I believe the Johnny Mercer Theater has unique value and is still needed in our community. But I think that the city council needs to understand fully what our options are in regards to both buildings and what those financial impacts of those options. So what I'll be asking council to do today is to give consensus to the city manager, who's new to this as well, to fully vet both proposals, look at both buildings, look at all of the options, and then allow this council to make a decision based on the options. And I think that is only fair. Also, on our regular meeting agenda, as we continue getting ready for our opening of the in-market arena, we will consider purchasing stage lighting and portable basketball backstops. and a $4.4 million contract for water, sewer, and stormwater line repairs. The city's Water Resources Department operates and maintains over 2,000 miles of water, sewer, and storm mains and major operational structures. And we will also consider a $102,000 contract for legislative services or lobbying services at the state capitol. The city's contract provides for professional representation and liaison services with the Georgia General Assembly, the Chatham County Legislative Delegation, executive departments, and agencies of the state of Georgia. Last year, Savannah did not have a dedicated lobbyist, and I believe that we were at a strategic disadvantage because of it. That will not happen this year. We have too many critical issues to be addressed at the state level, both proactively and in some cases preemptively. And we need our own dedicated team in the Capitol every day focused on Savannah's needs, and this contract will help us do that. And I'm hoping that the council will join me in approving this contract. We will also consider adopting the Racial Equity and Leadership Task Force report that we received 2 weeks ago. If the council adopts it, and I hope that we will, we'll be asking the city manager to review the report and recommend implementation strategies to the city council. Hopefully, we can do some of that even in our 2022 budget. Finally, as you are aware, we will celebrate Veterans Day on Thursday with the return of our annual parade. And I again congratulate 2021 Veterans Parade Grand Marshal Jim Grismer and the 2021 Veteran of the Year, O.C. Fowler. The parade will begin at 10 o'clock a.m. On Thursday at Abercorn and Gwinnett Streets. This year, the parade will turn east on Oglethorpe Avenue rather on Broughton Street due to the construction on Broughton Street. The viewing stand will be in front of the Savannah Fire Headquarters on Oglethorpe. No parking signs are going up today along the route, so if you see a sign where you usually park, please, please, please move your car by 12:01 Thursday morning, or you will have to pick up your car somewhere else. Savannah Police expect normal traffic flow to resume by 2 p.m. on Thursday afternoon. City offices, of course, will be closed on Thursday to observe this holiday. I certainly want to thank all of Savannah's veterans for their service and their sacrifice. We have a special tribute that will premiere on Thursday, highlighting some of Team Savannah's veterans on our social media channels for Thursday. Team Savannah, we're blessed to have 411 of our team members who have served in the Army, Air Force, Marines, Navy, or the Coast Guard. 411, which means that 1 out of 5 city employees are veterans. And that's what makes us Savannah strong, because we are Army strong, we're Navy strong, we're Air Force strong, we're Marine strong, we're Coast Guard strong. And they add to our vitality, they add to our resilience, and so we just are appreciative of them, not only for the service they have given during their military days, but their service they've given since, and even for those that are currently still serving in various capacities. So that ends my prepared remarks, and I'll entertain any questions you may have. Good morning. You were in that cold as well. I felt bad for you, I really did. I couldn't help you though. I mean, I was wet too. I mean, it's like, yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about the Broughton construction. What do you think is the significance? How will it help these businesses throughout the holidays?
Well, I mean, I think it means that we're trying. The strangest thing about it is that, you know, the Broughton Street streetscape improvements were a part of a SPLOST package. People voted for it. We recognized that it was important because we had aging infrastructure underneath Broughton Street. And we recognized that our main street should look a lot better than it was looking. So everybody wanted it until we started doing it. And we picked, I thought, an opportune time because of the pandemic, wasn't much traffic down there. Well, things have picked up. But the construction, we have contracts, and so obviously there's money that's being paid. And so, you know, we've been moving. We've had, you know, admittedly some hiccups with that. We've tried to address those. I think, you know, initially we didn't do a very good job of communicating. I think we're doing a much better job of proactively communicating. But I think we understand also that this has been a monster year for our businesses. And we want them to finish the fourth quarter on that high note as well. And so if people are able to walk up and down Broughton Street, we know that means the world of difference. So we recognize that. I'm not sure how much our financial impact will be. It'll be some. But we think that in the greater good, it makes sense for us to go ahead, put a pause on it. Let's get through December. Let's get people down to Broughton Street and across our city, and then turn around and right at the beginning of the year, get started and get this thing finished.
So when we come back in January, any idea of how much longer construction is going to take?
May or June. So by the beginning of summertime, we should be rocking and rolling, to use this phrase.
Morning, Mayor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Can't complain. So last night, Atlanta rescinded their mask mandate. Any plans to do the same here, maybe in the coming weeks? Numbers keep coming down.
It's a matter of days. We are looking daily. If you notice, we last Friday before last, we were at 100 for 2 straight days. We went down to 96. We shot up to 103. Shot up to 108. So I mean, it's just we're almost there. And so I'm hoping to do that soon, and I'm going to be more than pleased to take that banner down myself. I do think that we will transition where it may not be mandated, but we're going to tell people, I mean, I'm going to continue wearing my mask when I'm around people I don't know. I mean, because the fact is, we still have COVID. Our numbers are better than Atlanta's, but again, we did not get this far by acting impulsively, so we're doing it based on the science.
And I know it's still a few months away. Any current status on January's MLK parade?
I believe they're having it. I think that they have been reconsidering their current format, so I believe they'll have a parade. I think it'll just be smaller. You know, so I mean that's totally up to them. As you can see, you know, we are now committed to allowing larger events now, and so I hope they have it. I missed it last year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, well, as always, may God bless you all. May God bless Savannah. And again, we're so excited to be back at our home. We'll see how it goes. Again, thank you all so much.